What's going on, everybody? This is Gary from Killer Off-Road Hobbies here with another first look video for you. Today we have the Hobao Hyper MT Sport Plus on here. Now, I did get this vehicle as a roller. I put my own electronics in it, so it will not have the stock electronics, but everything else is 100% stock. This was basically the 80% version that you can get and put your own electronics in. I did get the wheelie bar as well, so it does not come with this wheelie bar. You have to buy it separately, but it is pretty cool. Very, very stable looking. And all in all, this truck is just a beast. I mean, look at this thing. This thing's huge. It is comparable in size to my Tekno MT410 with the big tires I have on it and everything. I will most likely be doing a comparison between this and my Tekno MT410. So let's just kind of go over this thing and let you know what you kind of get in the box. These are available on eBay as the 80% kit version, kind of like this one was. And I will put a price right here for you right now on that, and I will also put a link in the description so that you can go ahead and check it out, because these things are awesome. I do want to give a shout out to Vez from Aussie RC Playground. I have wanted one of these Hobao Hyper MT trucks since he did his review a long time ago. I actually ordered this wheelie bar. It's kind of a funny story, so I'll tell it real quick. I actually ordered this wheelie bar because I had this thing on order when the Proline Pro MT 4x4 first came out. So I went ahead and I canceled the order for this truck, and I went ahead and got the Proline Pro MT 4x4, and then I've had that truck for a while now, and I had an opportunity to go ahead and get this thing, so I went ahead and did it. And that is going to come in a little bit later, but we'll go over that in a minute. So this is the body that I got with mine. Sometimes the kits come with the body that is painted. 80% normally come with a body that's unpainted. I have the body that is painted. Awesomeness. I did go ahead and Gorilla Tape it already because I do plan on bashing this thing pretty hard. This thing is beast mode looking. It has been sitting in my garage for quite a little while. I have several RCs sitting in there waiting to be on the channel. I just kind of trying to filter out, get reviews done, and then bring on new stuff. But all in all, this thing looks awesome. I think the body feels nice and flexible, but it does seem like it will take a hit, hopefully. And we'll just kind of see how it does. But like I said, I did reinforce it already because I do plan on bashing this truck big time. So here it is in all of its glory. It is very adjustable, this truck. Very good solid base, looks like, anyways. That will come into play later when we're bashing. We'll figure out how tough it is, but it does have the twin vertical plate chassis. It has this nice roll bar in the center to, you know, kind of prevent everything from getting smashed down and everything. And I did put the K.O.R.H 150 amp ESC in here with that 4-pole 1700 4076 brushless motor to start off with. This was the electronics that I did have in the Pro MT 4x4, and when I got this thing, I decided to go ahead, take it out, and put it in here. I am running a 18 tooth pinion. This thing is completely stock outside of the different electronics, so everything you see here you will get if you get the RTR or not. You'll just have the electronics that come with it. I think they're really good. It does come 6S capable. I think it's a 2000 kV motor if I'm not mistaken, and it does come with the radio and everything. I have this set up to one of my own radios and all that. So let's kind of just go over it from back to front, and I'll just kind of talk you through it, and then yeah, we'll just go over it. So starting in the back, the shock tower is plastic. The shocks are aluminum threaded bodied. They do have aluminum caps, and the suspension feels good. We'll go over one of the negatives coming up pretty quick though. You do have camber links, and you do have turnbuckles on the rear, so your toe in and out will be adjustable, as well as camber in and out will be adjustable as well. The A-arms are crazy thick. Look how thick those are. I would say they're at least a ½ an inch thick, maybe even 3/4 inch thick. So you do have a couple adjustment points on your shock tower to relocate your shocks, and 2 points on your A-arms to relocate to adjust your spring rates and whatnot. So moving forward from there, we have the ESC and motor that we already talked about. You have side mount battery trays, kind of like the HPI Savage. You just put your packs in here. It does come with these little foam blocks to run shorter packs. We'll get that all figured out when I start running this thing. It has a single speed transmission, you know, typical stuff, forward, reverse. This big, comically big actually, receiver box. It is pretty big, but the servo does mount underneath inside there. It does have a servo saver, and the front is basically the same as the rear. You've got adjustable turnbuckles and camber links to adjust camber and toe in and toe out, and it's running the same heavy duty A-arms in the front. Now the A-arms do look to be mirrored, so you should be able to run by one set of A-arms, and you will be good for the front and the rear. In the front, on the shock side of it, is exactly the same. You got a plastic shock tower, a couple adjustment points, and you have aluminum threaded bodied shocks, so you can adjust your ride height and whatnot. Other than that, the tires feel good. They do have a little resistance to them. They aren't quite like super soft, but for the weight of this truck, I do think they'll do good, and they're huge tires, if you can't tell. As I said, this does run the twin vertical plate chassis here. This is an upgraded version, though. I do believe when they were OFNA, the chassis were a little brittle, I think. Vez actually bent his like in half, bent his truck in half almost. So I do think they reinforced this chassis. You have your center drive shafts here. They are typical dog bones, and as I said, your servo mounts under here. It does have the Hobao servo. I do believe it's waterproof, but the electronics aren't waterproof. So, and anybody who watches my channel knows I don't run in the water and mud much anyways. As far as front drive shafts go, they are CVDs in the front, and it looks to be typical dog bones in the rear. Yeah, they have more of a universal joint instead of a CVD, a full CVD. I think it's more of like a universal joint, but it's basically the same thing. Now, one of the bad things I'm going to mention already, and if you've seen Vez's videos on this truck, you'll already know this probably, but unfortunately, the shocks on this truck bottom out before the chassis does. You cannot touch the chassis to the ground, which is going to make big air and hard landings very hard on the shocks and shock towers. They do have upgraded shafts, I know, that you can put in your shocks to make them stronger, but the tire cushion along with the good feeling suspension, the suspension feels really good. It has a nice dampening rate and everything. It does feel very nice, Unfortunately, though, they didn't design it to where the chassis will actually bottom out. Another thing I see when I'm pushing up and down on this truck is there will be a little bit of bump steer on both sides. The bump steer is when you compress the suspension and the tires tend to go in or out. So in the rear you can see that the front of the tires will turn in a little bit on compression while the fronts turn out a little bit. So it will have a little bit of bump steer. Maybe they'll work against each other to kind of, you know, negate any problems you might have. But this isn't a race buggy. I mean, you're hardly going to notice it. And for what I have planned for this truck, I don't even think I'll have to worry about any bump steer or anything like that. I do think the tires will work well. I haven't heard anything about them, good or bad. And I can't recall offhand right now whether Vez thought they were good or not, but I'm pretty sure he left them on there, so I think that that's a good indication that they do work pretty decent. Now, as far as the plastics on this thing, I have heard, and if you watch Vez's channel and his review on this and everything, he does brag on the plastics on this truck. So, as I said, I have wanted to get one of these since they came out, since Hobao bought out OFNA and kind of revamped this whole lineup. I have wanted to get one of these, and I have almost got it several times, and I finally went ahead and pulled the trigger, and everything worked out, and I was able to get it here, put the electronics in it, and like I said, it had to sit around for a little bit, but it's going to be on the channel now, and I will absolutely be taking this down to bash with Rich Duper Bash, because I have very, very high hopes for this truck. Now, just going over a couple more things. The drive shafts do look to be about 4 millimeters thick, and the center drive shafts are even smaller than that. They're probably about 3. I haven't heard about any drive shaft issues on this truck, but we will see about that. Everything else looks pretty solid. I mean, everything, this thing looks built very, very well. Aside from the shock thing with not being able to bottom out, I don't foresee many problems with this truck. It's very, very simple, basic, and it looks like it's going to work very well. Everything's put together very nicely. This wheelie bar went on flawlessly, no problems at all. And I can tell you right now that this thing, the plastics feel awesome. They're flexible, but they feel like they'll be able to take a major, major hit. Other than that, just look for this thing coming up on the channel. All right, everybody, hopefully that was everything you were wanting to know, and or this video was informative. If it was and you did appreciate it, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If not, don't be shy about smashing that thumbs down. It helps me out as a channel, lets me know what you guys are liking and not liking. So look for the Hobao Hyper MT Sport Plus coming up on the channel very, very shortly. And as always, I'm your host, Gary, saying get out there, get an RC, go have some fun, and we'll see you right back here on the next video. Hey, if you got time, please check out the description. You can get in on raffles, you can become a patron, help support me, and keep stuff like this coming into the channel. And there's a bunch of Killer Off-Road Hobbies merchandise down there. You can get t-shirts, sweaters, all that stuff. All right, everybody, till the next video. Peace!